Good evening and welcome back to the show. This is your Manchester United versus Sheffield match reaction. I'm buzzing and the two gentlemen with me, Rita and Shawnee, will probably be buzzing as well. So if you're buzzing just like us, hit that like button and do consider subscribing if you are new. We'll be breaking down some of the most important talking points and fan opinions, real genuine fan opinions with regards to what has just happened in the game. Tonight was always going to be a significant result between these two teams. Manchester United, of course, have developed an unwanted reputation in the recent past of losing games like this, games that are considered to be cornerstone games, games where we're supposed to be proving that we're building something for the future. And I think I speak for all United fans, at least maybe for even a portion of some of the early outers, when I say that there is something there. Whether or not Sheffield United were struggling, and that's the reason why we won, we'll just have to see, man. So without any further ado, gentlemen, first of all, how are you feeling about the game, the result? What are your thoughts? And was Sheffield significantly at a disadvantage because of fitness, or like, for lack of better terminology, really crap? Or were Manchester United really good?
As soon as I seen the lineup, it was game over. I wanted to cry. It was the perfect lineup. I wouldn't have changed anything about that lineup. And then, I think United were just really good. When you seen the lineup again, I didn't expect nothing else from it. It was just, it was perfection. It was literally planned perfectly. And that's exactly
Newcastle also beat them 3-0, just saying. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both. Like, Sheffield looked crap. They were crap. Like, the shadow of the team that we saw before the lockdown. But besides that, we played really well. I loved how we played. I think in terms of how we played, not result, but in terms of how we played, it was a game of two halves. I think in the first half, we weren't pressing that high. We were willing to let them have the ball and exploit the counter. But at the same time, when we had the ball, we were using it really, really well. We were holding it really, really well. We were moving it quickly in the right areas, and in the areas we move it slowly, we were moving it slowly, and we would control the tempo, and we were brilliant. Second half, you can see that the instructions were clear. It was control the game. We had like 70% possession, and we controlled the game. But the nice thing is, we were still extremely threatening. So, 10 out of 10.
I have to disagree with one thing you said. Everything you said there was 100% correct, and maybe this is just my opinion, but in the first half, I actually purposefully tried to capture some screenshots so I can prove and further illustrate my point of why Matic is so important, if anybody's interested in that. But besides that, the point that we weren't pressing high. Now, we weren't playing high up the field on defense. We weren't. But when we lost the ball, I was really happy to see that it seemed like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactic was press on every touch. If you don't know what that is, it basically means as soon as you lose the ball, you try and get it back as quickly as possible in transition. And if it's not possible, then you drop back, right? I saw a transition of play. Yes. And I don't know if I quite captured that part, but I think I can illustrate this point beautifully. I saw a period in play where Lindelof actually pressed one of the Sheffield strikers and Matic dropped into his position in case that guy got away from Lindelof, and Pogba was helping him too, and then they couldn't get the ball from him. So Lindelof immediately dashed back to his position, and Wan-Bissaka did the same thing and then dashed back to his position, and then Sheffield were nearly in our box and they won a corner. That was one example. I think it was in the 35th or 36th minute, if I'm not mistaken. It was definitely in the first half. And I don't know, I feel like we were really good at that today. Obviously, on the whole, I feel like we played pretty deep. But there were moments in transition. Higher. Sorry?
Yeah. Sorry, you can talk.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, overall, we didn't play high up the pitch when we were defending. But
I think...
Okay, you can go since...
I mean, like, when Sheffield got the ball and had to get it back, I think we did it more consistently in the second half. And I think in the first half, we saw Bruno and Pogba not have the ball that much. And I think it's down to us not pressing. Maybe we did press. Maybe after we lost the ball, a few seconds we did press. But I don't think we're pressing as high. And the two midfield pair of Pogba and Bruno didn't have the ball as much as one can say you would have liked them to have. But when they did get it, they used it very well.
Yeah, that's what press on heavy touch is, if you don't know. Press on heavy touch is not playing. It's not a complete high press. It's try to get the ball back quickly within seconds of losing it. And if you can't, get back to your position. That's what press on heavy touch is.
And I
or
get
at least
you.
that's how I interpret it. We were not. I'm not by any means saying United played a high line of defense. That's not what I'm saying. We definitely did play deep, but there were moments where we tried to get the ball quickly in transition, and what we spoke about for months under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I remember saying that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets the players he wants, you will see his tactics come to life. All these people who call him a PE teacher, who call him this and that, I think you owe him an apology, because today was proof of what he can actually do in transition play when we're defending and when we win the ball back quickly. Now, with regards to Paul Pogba holding the ball and not having the ball as much as people liked, that's the way the system is supposed to work. Paul Pogba's abilities from deep are to distribute the ball as quickly as possible and as efficiently to any forward options. That is why Paul Pogba is playing in that deep position. I think I would have liked to see more of Bruno on the ball, but because of the type of player that Bruno Fernandes is, he's going to lose the ball a lot because he plays the risky passes, and I love that. I really do love that. But when he plays that risky pass and it comes off, and someone like Rashford is able to do the 1-2s that I saw today, it really, really warms my heart, man. It really does. I loved what I saw. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to knock Rashford for missing the 2 chances, but I thought we've already established that he's not a striker, and I thought he got 2 assists today. So, maybe it's just me.
I think that's just down to sharpness, to be honest. I mean, I heard for the game, was it Owen, the guy who played for Liverpool United? He was saying that he used to hate coming back from injury because it takes time. He needs a few games, and he said he hated the first few games. And I think that's what Rashford is suffering from right now. He's doing all the right things, but that sharpness just isn't there. So
look. Yes, that could be it, and I thought that was definitely the case against Spurs. But I've seen Rashford bottle chances like that in the past, and the reason why I've always defended Rashford is because I've always said Rashford doesn't put away the simple chances, but when you need someone to step up and win your game, Rashford can do it. And unlike a lot of the wingers we have at the moment, or the attacking players we have, what I saw from Rashford today was a lot of selflessness. Like, we usually don't talk about Rashford getting 2 assists. We usually don't talk about Rashford going down the line and passing it back to Martial like a FIFA-style goal. You can hate on Rashford for missing those chances. You can defend him and say that he wasn't sharp. But for me, that's not the point. Even if this was deep in the season, even if there was no COVID and Rashford missed those chances, it doesn't matter. Why? Because he got the assist and he redeemed himself. I've always said about Rashford, he is the type of player that can have a bad game for 85 minutes. And in the last 5 minutes, makes all the difference. He did it against Burnley away from home when was it? I think, was it Martial scored in that game, and then he scored in the 90th minute off a counter attack when we played at Turf Moor. Not when they came to us. We lost when they came to us. But yeah, that my point with Rashford is that exactly. So look, if you're gonna say Rashford should have scored those, fair play. But I thought we've already established that this guy's not a striker. He's a winger.
I think the first definitely should have scored. The second one, I can give him leeway.
Yeah, I mean, we've sat here for long and said, how many times have we said Rashford should have scored this, Rashford should have scored that? A lot. Rashford does miss a lot of chances, even when he's fit. I mean, like the one where was it Bruno or Pogba? I think Pogba chipped it over. Rashford should be scoring that, but again, he's not a striker, and I don't expect him to as long as he makes up for it elsewhere. So, and I also think that this game was a good learning opportunity for us. A lot of people will get blinded by the optimism, but I really think it was a good learning opportunity. Firstly, Maguire, Lindelof, De Gea, another clean sheet, by the way. Secondly, I think, bar what happened in the midfield with Bruno and Pogba, the way Martial and Rashford played today is exactly what a lot of Rashford and Martial fans have been saying for a long time. When these two are together, the chemistry is unbelievable.
Just that fat forward today, the chemistry was just insane.
I think with the whole team, the chemistry was mad. I even thought Greenwood was Greenwood was also great. The team in general is amazing.
To be honest, I think I actually had a lot of criticism for Greenwood until the second half. I thought he was very selfish, which is okay when you're 2-0 up. You don't need to pass the ball when you're 2-0 up. You can always have a go. Some of the greatest wingers in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, selfish. So I can't fault Greenwood for trying to pull off a few spectacular things. I think he had a much better second half than first half. I do. I still don't think Greenwood is a right winger. I think the potential is there, and I think he can definitely improve. But yeah, man, I don't know. I can't really fault him too much because on the one hand, he was selfish, but on the other hand, Rashford's always selfish, and that's how Rashford gets his goals. So do I sound like a hypocrite?
For me, I
know.
feel
Let
like
me
it
know in the
depends.
comments down below.
feel like it depends what type of right wing you're looking for. If you're looking for someone who's pace is going to stick to the wing, he's not the guy. But he can drop into the middle and he can get you a lot of goals.
That's the thing. What I think Manchester United need, and maybe this is a whole entire topic for another video, what I think Manchester United needs is not someone who's versatile, who can occasionally play on the right wing. Manchester United needs someone who will command that right position, who will consistently... Look at what Rashford did on the left wing today. We need someone like that on the right. We need someone who can create chances off the right-hand side, whether it means they're scoring crackers and cutting in and shooting with their left foot, or whether it means they're getting assists down the flank, or whether it means they're switching with Rashford to try and confuse the opposition. The problem I had with Greenwood today, and for most of the game, I think he was very anonymous. He did have his fair share of chances, but I think that had more to do with the fact that Sheffield were just tired in the second half. Not that Greenwood isn't a phenomenal player, don't get me wrong. I think the problem I have with Mason Greenwood at the moment is he has been thrown in a number of different positions and he's not really sure what his muse is, or what, I don't know what the right word is, but he's not, I don't know what type of a right winger to class him as yet, because at the moment he just seems all over the place. Like, I don't want someone who's just going to occasionally drop in and occasionally do a job. I want someone who's going to command it. Now, Wan-Bissaka played brilliantly today, but what if Wan-Bissaka didn't play as well as he did today? Where was Greenwood then? You know? You get what I mean? Like, Shaw didn't have to work as hard on the left-hand side as Wan-Bissaka did. You know what I mean? Like, Wan-Bissaka shouldn't be working that hard to create chances, in my opinion, at least.
You think so? It could be.
This is just
I'm not saying you're
opinion.
wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it could be that it's the tactic, much like Liverpool do with Trent and Salah.
No, 100%,
Because they
100%. 100%.
Yeah, because
Or
they
you
want-
could have instructed him just to drop in deep
Yeah.
and create gaps. 100%.
Like Salah, they do a lot
And-
with Salah. They ask Salah to move a little bit more narrow and play there, so
Yes.
Trent can play on the wing.
100%, and I've got no problems with that. The thing is, though, I don't know if Greenwood is ready to do that at the level that we need him to do to potentially challenge for a championship or whatever the case is,
And
whatever the aspiration
definitely
of
not
this
number
team.
one.
Yeah, because you made a good comparison there. Mo Salah, Greenwood. Mo Salah is one of the best players in Europe. Greenwood is still a teenager. At least with Mo Salah, if Trent can't do anything, Trent can always pass it back to Mo Salah and trust him to make the intelligent football decisions. There was a lot of chances that Greenwood had to make something out of nothing, and instead he chose to shoot. Again, not a massive problem, but if it was 0-0 and Greenwood had shot and he got his shot blocked, I would have been fuming, because I would have been like, Bruno's there, Martial's there, Pogba's there, and even Wan-Bissaka is there for the pass back. Why are you shooting on the edge of the box when there's clearly two Sheffield players in front of you? There was a lot of poor decision making, but again, we'll let it slide because it's the innocence of youth and we were 2-0 up.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think-
we would have played differently if the circumstances were different.
I definitely don't think he's ready to be a number one right winger. But if I'm being honest, I don't know what he is yet. I don't know if he's a left wing. Sorry, did I say left? I mean right. I don't know if he's a right
Yeah.
winger or a striker. I think he has a lot of potential to be a right winger. So I'm just not sure where he is. But definitely not as a number one going forward.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
no. He's
Definitely.
doing well. He's doing very well for what he has to do.
That's the thing with Greenwood. Like, you just nailed it there. You've just nailed my point. I didn't have to go on that rant. I could have just easily said, I don't know what Greenwood is. Because when I watch him, he has all these skill sets and talents, but I don't know what you see with Martial, I know what Martial is. I can liken Martial to someone like Roberto Firmino. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer, but when he has the right people around him, he can be so versatile in the attack, and his 1-2 plays phenomenal. He's almost like a jack of all trades in terms of being a striker, and I think his best trait is that sometimes he can be the glue to the attack, which is what you need in some teams. I don't think Martial would do well. I don't think you put Anthony Martial into any team and he scores goals. And you want proof for that? Look at when we didn't have Bruno, how much Martial struggled. He's the kind of striker that needs the right team around him. And that's not a criticism. That's just an observation. That's just how players are. Some players need a certain type of team around them in order to produce. And so with Martial, I've identified that about him. I'm comfortable with Martial. I can confidently say he's a striker. I know some people have had that opinion for a long time now, and I might be late. And I can say with Rashford, I know what Rashford is. But with Greenwood, I'm just not sure yet. And it frustrates me a little bit because I don't want to see a young player just being thrown in to plug holes, you know. If Greenwood wants to be a striker and that is what he does in the training grounds, let him perfect that and let him grow towards that, you know. Why does he just have to become the quick glue or the quick fix every time something goes wrong? I really don't like that because I've seen it done with Rashford down the middle. I've seen it done with Martial down the left, and I know some people like Martial down the left. Personally, I don't. I think Martial's at his best when he's doing the hold-up play and the 1-2s in the middle. Like, that's the Tony I love to watch because I think his talents are wasted so much on the wing, you know? But that's just my 2 cents. Moving on then, Pogba, Matic, Bruno, your thoughts on that midfield and their performance today, and whether or not this is a long-term partnership. And by long-term, I don't mean for the next 5 years. I'm talking about long-term as in the next 12 months. What do you think of those 3?
It's the best midfield we have, and it's the midfield I said that I wanted to see today, and we did get it. So, nothing. The midfield was perfect. Everyone was perfect in that midfield. Everyone did what they had to do insanely well. Everyone did so well that even Pogba looked quiet compared to all 3, and Pogba wasn't even that quiet.
And noticed how what I said Fred couldn't do, Matic did very well in this game. I know a lot of people weren't paying attention to United's formation off the ball because there were so many other things distracting you. But if you actually watched United's formation off the ball, you would have seen Matic drop, even on the ball sometimes. You would have seen Matic drop in between Lindelof and Maguire and how effective that was for our defense. Because it essentially becomes a 5 at the back. And people say they don't like the 5 at the back. Well, at times today, we played a 5 at the back, whether you like it or not, because football is versatile. You don't stick to the same formation 100% of the time. It shifts and it changes into beautiful things. And if you have a tactical mind, you see it. I think Matic did what Fred and McTominay just need to learn how to do. Because when Matic drops in between Lindelof and Maguire, I'm comfortable. When Fred drops between Lindelof and Maguire, I'm like, I don't know, you know, because Matic just has that cool head about him, you know, whatever you want to say about him. He's just got a cool head. He's got a way of commanding things and making everyone around him feel calm and secure. And then when his outlet is Pogba or Bruno up front, it's even better. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think we see that a lot with Fabinho at Liverpool, with him dropping into the defense, which, I think he played really well. He didn't have any attacking responsibilities because of the 2 talents in front of him. And he just sat. And I was really, really impressed with that midfield. Like, we didn't play a fast tempo, especially in the first half. I think we played a very slow tempo. But when we got the ball, we made such good passes and we penetrated so well. Something Fred, Pereira, and definitely Lingard can't do. So I was really impressed with that midfield.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. But, you know, the only negative I take away from today is what happens if one of those 3 gets injured, you know?
Like when
do we have
when Fernandes is down, I almost had a heart attack.
When Fernandes is down, the devil on my shoulders was like, I told you so, you know? And I was like, shut up. He might not be injured. He might just come back on. And he did come back on, so it was good to see that. But all jokes aside, look, if one of these 3 in the midfield do get injured, it's a problem, right? It's not as big as a problem as our front 3, I still don't believe. But we desperately need reinforcement. And I know this is a topic for another show, but I'm worried about the signing of Grealish. I'm starting to think that United are only going to sign Sancho. And the reason why I think that is because based on our patterns in the transfer window and our net spend, Grealish and Sancho doesn't make sense unless we sell someone. And it looks like Pogba's staying for a while, not just because he's happy and he's smiling in training, but because I don't think anybody can afford him. Juventus and Barca have already made big signings, so I don't think they're going to splash another 100 million on Pogba. I don't know. I'm worried about who's going to come into this team. So when Bruno inevitably or Pogba inevitably does go down, they can step in and do the job the right way.
We need Grealish. We definitely do. And he played Pereira today, but no.
I've got no problems with that. I don't
know about all his faith in Pereira.
I've got no problems with that. The thing is, what you have to realize is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, here are his options. He starts Matic, he starts Bruno, he starts Pogba. Front 3, he starts Greenwood, he starts Martial, he starts Rashford. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows that if he doesn't start Bruno, Pogba, Rashford, and Martial, his chances of winning are reduced massively. So he starts them. What does he do when he has to take them off? He brings on McTominay, he brings on Fred. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Those are the obvious substitutions. But what if you want to give them a rest? When you're 3-0 up, why does it not make sense to use the squad depth that you have? Like Ole Gunnar
I-
Solskjaer has no other options but Pereira. Well, he actually didn't. Lingard wasn't even on the bench today. But my point is, I've got no problems with it. As long as Pereira's coming off the bench and not starting.
I don't have an issue with it, not at all. But in those circumstances, what I'm saying is I don't know what it means. I don't know what it represents. Does it represent him shuffling the squad, or does it represent that he still has a bit of faith in him and he wants to maybe move forward with him into the next season?
Well, I don't know, because Pereira wasn't in the squad in the last game. Lingard was, and then this week Lingard was in the squad. Pereira was. Yeah. Yeah.
Lingard was there last week, and Pereira's here this week for Lingard.
Yeah.
Look,
what I'm trying to say is I don't know if he's written Pereira off.
Yeah. No. Look, if you want my opinion, if that's where you were going with this, my thoughts on Andres Pereira are simple. He, unlike Lingard, he's got the innocence of youth on his side. Same with Dan James. Same goes for Mason Greenwood. Same goes for Brandon Williams. I think it's massively unfair and massively naive that to write off a player based on one bad season when they've still got their whole career ahead of them. I think in moments, Andres Pereira has shown levels of talent that most young players don't show. Whether that's because they haven't been given the opportunity, or whether that's because when they have been given the opportunity, they haven't done what Andres Pereira has done. Andres Pereira has had a lot of bad games. I agree with that as well. But Andres Pereira had bad games in circumstances where he was forced to play. He was basically thrown in the deep end. There's no other way to put it. It's the same as Dan James. Dan James was thrown in the deep end. So I think that I've got no problems if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still has faith in Andres Pereira. I do have my question marks about Andres Pereira, but I can understand where Ole's coming from, because he's still a young player and he probably does things in training that we don't get to see, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sees. Like, no, this guy still has the potential. This guy can pass a ball. This guy can dribble. This guy can do things on the ball that could help us in a game, right? Now, moving over to Lingard, now there's where there's problems, because he is an experienced player and his stats don't sound like the stats of someone who was in a World Cup final. His stats don't sound like the stats of someone who's a massive asset to Manchester United and is probably one of our most popular footballers, whether you like it or not, on the social media side. His stats on the field this season do not replicate what we know, what some people thought Jesse Lingard was last season, when all the Jesse Mason memes were going around. And so I think Lingard, it's stupid. Lingard needs to be, for me at least, Lingard needs to be written off. Not because I think Lingard's a crap footballer or anything like that. I think it's his time is up and he's just got to move on and he's got to go make a career for himself elsewhere. It just hasn't worked out. And I don't think there's anything Lingard can do differently to change his trajectory as a player at Manchester United. It's pretty obvious that something has gone terribly wrong, and I don't think he can reverse it. He's tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and it hasn't worked. At least with Pereira, there's a future there. So that's my thoughts on Pereira. And as long as Pereira isn't starting, I don't have any massive problems with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer showing faith in him. I don't mind watching Pereira come on for 15 minutes and see what he can do. Because I've watched Andres Pereira do some crazy things. Yeah, right, the three guys he dribbled in the corner was against AZ Alkmaar, a team that most people don't know. But I haven't seen Mason Greenwood do that. I've seen Mason Greenwood score from range, but I haven't seen him dribble past three players. I haven't seen Williams dribble past three players. I haven't seen Daniel Levitt dribble past three players. I haven't seen Gomez dribble past three players and create a chance and get an assist off it. I haven't seen Fred, McTominay. I haven't seen Bruno dribble past three players. And maybe he has, but I haven't seen it. So, I can go on and on and on, but there is something there. And it's just about whether or not he can unlock it. It's similar to Rashford, really. He's a very hot and cold player. Rashford's a flair player, Rashford on a bad day, I don't know. But Rashford on a good day, brilliant. So that's all I have to say about Pereira, really. I don't know. Shall we move on to the play ratings?
Yeah.
Yep.
De Gea, out of 10.
He could have read a newspaper.
Yeah, he could have read a newspaper. He didn't have anything to do, really. He literally didn't have anything
I thought
to
he was going to concede another silly goal today because of that. Because when De
thought
Gea has nothing to do, he tends to do that. When De Gea, have you noticed when De Gea makes a mistake, it's always because he hasn't been doing anything prior, leading up to the goal, and then the save immediately after that is a good one.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
I was worried about De Gea.
I think they kept the clean sheet. Didn't have anything to do. I'm gonna give him a
It had
7.
more to do with his defense than
Yeah, I'm gonna
to
have
be
him.
honest.
I'm gonna give him a 7 just on the basis that we kept the clean sheet, and for a goalkeeper, you generally do get a 7. But other than that, it was average. Didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have that problem with the whole back line today and the keeper because they didn't have much to do, and do you fault someone for not having much to do? But yeah, I'll also give him a 7. They kept the clean sheet.
I think the back line did well today. I saw Sheffield in United's half a lot of times, and most of their crosses were blocked.
Really?
Where
I feel like they had a period in the first half, but not that much. In the second half, I feel like they had nothing.
No, I definitely did see Wan-Bissaka header one out in the second half, especially actually from Sheffield. Yes, Sheffield weren't imposing, they weren't dangerous. On the whole, our players didn't have much to do defensively. But I think if Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka were slacking, Sheffield could have snuck one in there because most of their chances weren't even shots. They were just half chances from crosses. I would say that didn't get into the box.
I feel like the fullbacks had a decent amount of work, but I just didn't see the centre backs and the keeper having to do much.
You mean the centre halves? Yeah. No, yeah. No. Well, Maguire. I mean Wan-Bissaka. Sorry.
My man, Spider-Man, Mr. Spider-Man himself.
He was good going forward today.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka can't go forward apparently. Interesting. Very
But
no, I'm not having it.
But no, wait. Let me talk. But Newcastle United also beat this team 3-0. So if Wan-Bissaka gets past a team that lost to Newcastle 3-0, that doesn't really prove anything.
Yeah, no. Sheffield flats, like they have no legs whatsoever. Okay, Shawnee, be honest. That Wan-Bissaka cross when he shimmied and he turned around. Come on, like a decent left back would have stopped that. When Wan-Bissaka did that thing where he turned and he looked like he was going to pass back and then he ran in and crossed, and I think it was an assist. Come on, be honest. I think it was the assist to Martial's second goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, second.
Be honest. A decent left back would have stopped that. Like you could see that guy didn't have the legs to keep up with him. There was nothing amazing about that, to be honest.
But it was amazing, though. At the end of the day, it'll say Wan-Bissaka assist. And he kept the clean sheet defensively. Again, no one gets past him. 8 out of 10.
At the end of the day, it will also say Newcastle beat that team 3-0. But anyways.
I think defensively, he didn't have to do much. But when he was called upon, he did the job. I think offensively, I don't know. I don't think he did too many skills and cross. He did here and there, as you guys are saying. But what I really liked about him, he was a brilliant outlet. Every time the ball needed to be switched, anytime the ball needed to be released, he was there and he was waiting. So I really liked it about him, and he gave us another option in attack. So I'm gonna give him a 7.
He did that really well. I'll give him that. He actually did get beat once, but it didn't lead to a goal because Sheffield are crap. He did get beat once on. I don't know any of the Sheffield players. Okay, someone passed it into the box. Maguire or Lindelof cleared it. But yeah, besides that, he was perfect. There's nothing to say. Maguire out of 10.
I thought Maguire did a lot better this game than the last game, 100%, definitely. I think Maguire was perfect today. The only thing that he could have even had a goal, but the only complaint I had today is that he had like 4 chances in the opposition where we could score, and he had fouls. He had I think 3 or 4 fouls, and I just I just don't want him to do more of that. He doesn't need to do that. I think he's strong enough, tall enough to win those headers without fouling them. But other than that, I've got no complaints about Maguire. I think he was solid, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, brilliant good. Don't think he had too much defensively, but like Wan-Bissaka, when he had to, he did really well. And again, in the midfield, he's really good. I think
even did a fake shot,
his ability with the ball at his feet is really good for a centre-back. So 7 out of 10.
Yeah, he did a fake shot. Does that count as a dribble? A successful take on? I don't know. But or a fake pass, if you want to be more technical, because it wasn't really a shot. He was never going to shoot from there. But anyways, Lindelof out of 10.
Lindelof, I felt, was the most quiet out of the whole back four. But I think that, he didn't really have to do much. And when he did have to do things again, he did nothing wrong. But other than that, quiet compared to the rest of them. So 7 out of 10.
There was a point in the game where he headed it to De Gea. And I don't know if he meant to do that or if he just fumbled it. And I was like, oh, cool. Here we go.
Yeah, but I've always said that, Lindelof in the air never gives me hope. Never.
Like, I won't lie to you guys. I don't know. I just don't know. I guess he played well because we didn't concede a goal and he didn't make any notable mistakes. So 6.5. I don't know.
That's harsh. That's harsh.
6.5.
Anyways,
6.5.
that's harsh. You're going to give Maguire 7 for doing nothing in defense, but you're going to give Lindelof a 6.
I saw moments. I can't recall exactly what, but I saw moments of Maguire. I just didn't see anything from Lindelof.
I saw just as much from Lindelof defensively as I did from Maguire today.
Really?
Actually, yes. And I recall him. Was it him and Shaw? No, I'm confusing. Lindelof plays next to Wan-Bissaka, right?
6.5.
When Wan-Bissaka got beat, Lindelof was the one who stopped that chance from going in. The chance that I'm talking about. But anyways, it is down to opinion.
I just think from 7 is when I'm considering it a good game, and 6.5 is not bad, but I think it's still decent. I'm giving Maguire 7 for the work he does when he pushes forward with the ball and his ability with the ball at his feet. Really.
Hey man, I respect your opinion, but I disagree. I think that's harsh. So let's move on. Luke Shaw out of 10.
Luke Shaw, I thought I think him and Wan-Bissaka was very good today. It just, Luke Shaw obviously didn't get an assist, but going forward today, I thought Luke Shaw was brilliant. Defensively, I thought Luke Shaw again was brilliant. And, if anyone has agendas against Luke Shaw, I mean, God, what more does this guy have to do today? Like today, he had a good game. I don't know how you think that Luke Shaw had a bad game or you were just quiet. So, Luke Shaw gets an 8 out of 10 from me as well.
I will say the reason why people will say Luke Shaw had a bad game is because he didn't have an assist like Wan-Bissaka. And it comes down to the fact that he's playing behind Rashford. He doesn't need to run and be the outlet on that side of the field. Whereas Wan-Bissaka was playing behind Greenwood.
This thing about Luke Shaw, I remember a stat came out last season about how most goal combinations between him and Pogba, something like that. But what I'll say about him, yes, he won't cross the ball like Wan-Bissaka does. And Wan-Bissaka's not even brilliant at it. But he won't cross the ball like Wan-Bissaka does. But in terms of his link-up play offensively, I think he's brilliant. Till the 1-2s with Bruno and Pogba, I think he's great. So for that and decent defense, I'm going to give him a 7.
And the runs he makes as well. Like the runs Luke Shaw makes go unnoticed. Like people love, these brainiacs love talking about stats, but they never bring up the stats that don't matter to most football fans, like the runs a player makes, the amount of good runs, and the amount of times he doesn't get the ball, and that would have been a really good assist. But Luke Shaw genders will be out there. Like I don't even know why I'm wasting my breath and my oxygen defending Luke Shaw, because if you think Luke Shaw's a crap player, you probably need a brain transplant, ain't it? Like you need to go get a new brain and then rewatch Luke Shaw's entire career at Manchester United. But anyways, Matic out of 10.
Oh, yes, Matic. I was never the biggest fan of Matic, but I wanted him to start out of everyone today, even as I said in the preview. I really want Matic to start. And today he was world class, Today Matic, when Matic is in the team now, I relax. As a United fan, I'm like, defensively, we'll be okay. He's composed enough, he's experienced enough. And today he didn't even give the ball away, so Matic almost had a perfect game. And it's probably my second for run-up for man of the match, so I'm going to give Matic a 9.
I think he set back. He said he didn't have to do anything really offensively that much. Although, I think on the ball, instead of moving the ball, he's not that bad. I feel like when he's playing with McTominay and Fred, they kind of hold him back. But I feel like instead of moving the ball and being a threat in that instant, he's decent at that. And I guess the only problem with Matt is the pace. But besides that, he played really well. So 7.
Yeah, this is the time when I just, to everyone listening on the show, if you listen to the podcast on the first episode where we talked about Bruno and Matic playing together, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so, I said this.
What's the name again?
Sheffield United is not a good team to judge against because they're crap at the moment, but at the end of the day, I've always said, if Bruno and Pogba are next to this guy, it doesn't matter how slow he is because he doesn't need to do much going forward. He can just sit on the halfway line and read a newspaper and put his feet up and get a tan, a nice spray tan. Not a fake one like Donald Trump, a real tan, So,
Matic. I think Tim Sherwood wasn't happy he started because he wanted McTominay's pace and legs. But, I don't think he needed them in this game. I think Sheffield are really, really slow. So I'm not taking anything away from Matic. But I do think against quicker teams, we will see it and he will be tested.
Yeah, we will. And but yeah, for the future, if Matic does play against quicker teams, and I will say I told you so when it happens, but just in advance, I think Matic will be okay even against the quicker teams. I do. If Bruno and Pogba do their jobs next to him, I really do. Because what I saw from Matic today, right? Yes, Sheffield are tired. Yes, Sheffield had bad fitness. Yes, Sheffield played deep, but today it didn't matter that they played deep because they gave us so much space anyways, which is weird. Usually when teams play deep, there is no space to penetrate. But I think Matic, it was weird because Matic did go forward sometimes, even though he didn't need to. He did go forward sometimes. You could see he was feeling himself, and he tried to help out offensively. He has that ability when he wants to, but I don't know. I just feel like with Matic, he really doesn't need to do more, but I'm not going to ramble on because talk is cheap. We'll see what happens when Matic plays against a quicker team. Maybe I'm wrong. Bruno, out of 10.
Bruno, for Bruno's standards, obviously it was a bit quiet. But yeah, Bruno, again, he did a good game. It just showed when he has more quality around him, again, his job becomes a lot easier. He doesn't have to do as much as he did have to do when he first came. And yeah, the second goal that led to Martial's second goal, I thought he was going to shoot from 40 yards out
again.
And then he
did fake shots.
Yeah, and he did 3 fake shots, and made the right pass, and then we ended up scoring from them. So it's good that he learned from his mistakes, and I do expect Bruno to do that. So yeah, I think Bruno was, again, quality is Bruno, so 7 out of 10.
Can I be honest? And it might sound like I'm correcting you, but I'm not, because I don't know how Bruno Fernandes's mind works. I think Bruno Fernandes didn't learn from his mistakes. I think that's the kind of player Bruno Fernandes is. I think he shoots from range and gets you thinking that he's going to shoot so that he can set you up for the fake shot. There's many times when I saw Rashford go down the left-hand side and I was like, why can't you be like Bruno? Your play is so predictable. You're always trying to pass. Just go for a fake shot once and throw the defender off. What I love about Bruno Fernandes when he plays is he makes you think as a defender. You never know what he's going to do. Is he going to pass left? Is he going to pass right? Is he going to shoot from range? Is he going to fake shot and try to win a free kick? Is he going to win a penalty? Or is he just going to dribble past you and try to score? You just don't know. And I would say it's the same with Pogba, because a lot of people expect Pogba to score from deep. You could see it with Sheffield today. When Pogba did that dribble where he got past 3 people, they thought he was going to shoot. That's why he stuck his leg out to try block. And then he put it underneath the guy's legs, did the same thing to the next guy again. And that's just, it's the brilliance. And I don't know, maybe Bruno was told to stop shooting from 12, but I don't think he was. I think he's just that good of a player. He just decided this time, you know what? Instead of shooting, I'm going to send this guy back home. I'm going to put him on his ass. But, it's just my opinion.
I can imagine that's true. He's an intelligent player. I think more so in the first half. I'm not going to talk too much about the second half. More so in the first half, I think because we weren't playing at a really high tempo and because we weren't pressing as high, I think he didn't have much of the ball. But when he did get it, he was very effective with it. So for that, I'm going to give him a 7.5.
Yeah, and the amount of times Bruno loses the ball again doesn't matter because he makes up for it when he does make that pass. But anyways, we move on. Paul Pogba, out of 10, yeah?
Oof. I will do anything to get Paul Pogba to sign a new contract at United. I really hope we keep him. But anyways, Paul Pogba, he's just a world-class player. Again, today he had a quiet game, and he was still bloody good, That pass to Rashford, I really wish Rashford scored it because, oh my God, what a pass that was. And, there was one time where he got into the box, and then he went through like 3 players, and then Martial just took it off his foot, and I was like, oh, that could have been so good if Martial just left it also. And then, his passing is, Paul Pogba's passing is next level. No one can hit it like a ball like Paul Pogba. But yeah, 7 out of 10. He shows why he's a world-class player.
Yeah, like no one hits long balls like Paul Pogba. The weight is just so pinpoint. It's amazing. But first half, same like Bruno. Not much of the ball, but when he got it, he used it really well. In the second half, I was impressed with those two, but Pogba specifically with the way they control the midfield. Like the way they control the tempo, but still were threatening and were able to just kill Sheffield. Like they moved it so swiftly, they moved it slow, fast, and I think that was really good, and that was down to having Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. So I'm also going to give him a 7.5.
You know, I else killed Sheffield, Newcastle. I guess they're world class as well. Just kidding. Relax. Don't pull your hair out. Rashford, out of 10.
I let Malot go first on this one.
He got 2 assists.
He played
That's
well.
all I'll say.
Yeah, he had an assist.
2 assists, not a assist.
2 assists.
2 assists. Get it right.
2 assists. He wasn't the wing. He wasn't the old school winger he usually is, who stays on the left and just runs down. He was moving around a lot and creating a lot of space. And 2 assists, as you said. Yeah, I can't say much more than that.
Interplay between him and Martial. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
oh my
like
word.
that combination is always from the start of the season. I remember that goal they scored against Wolves right at the start of the season. And since from that day, the flame has been lit. So 8 out of 10.
No, yeah, Rashford was excellent. It's just, I think if Rashford was sharp today, oh my goodness, he would have had the game of his life today. But yeah, for Rashford not being sharp, I mean, to still get 2 assists. And this is what I've always wanted from Rashford, This is what I always want, make the smart decision. And he did it twice today. He knew, sometimes he didn't get his finish. He should have scored the tap in, whatever. But again, he's not sharp. He hasn't played for so long. And yeah, he still got a 2 assists on top of that. So yeah, Rashford, my boy, well done. I give you 8 out of 10.
To be fair, though, that first assist, Sheffield were watching. Like, I really don't like playing the devil's advocate on such a positive day. But like that first assist, I will give credit to Rashford, not just because I like Rashford, because, he got the assist. What is he supposed to do? Shank the chance so that Sheffield can have a better start? No, like, you can only play what's in front of you. But that first assist was just a sign of what I was talking about. It's similar to the Wan-Bissaka assist. Like, that Sheffield defender there, all 3 of them just watched that ball come past helplessly because they just couldn't run and get there quick enough. And, credit to Marcus Rashford.
I don't know what happened to Sheffield during the lockdown. Oh my gosh.
It's fitness.
The opposite of the team they were, especially defensively. Yeah. They were brilliant. I think
it's fitness.
One of the best defense in the Premier League.
It's fitness. People underestimate the thing about fitness. You can train and train and train and train. You can run the treadmill, you can lift weights, and you can be ready for a marathon. Sorry?
I'm so sorry. Trent just scored a peach of a goal.
Hey mate, listen, Liverpool crap, this is not a Liverpool fan channel. What did you say?
I'm sorry.
Who were they even playing against?
Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah, they were playing against Crystal Palace. So you're telling me Henderson didn't slip? Oh no, I'm going to lose the bet. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying now. Oh yeah, the Sheffield... I genuinely forgot what I was saying. I was saying something about the Sheffield defenders not closing down
fitness
Rashford quickly enough. Oh yes, fitness. You can be fit enough to run a marathon, but that doesn't mean you'll be able to play 90 minutes of football because football is stop, start, stop, start. You've got to train your muscles to be ready for the stop, start, the stretching, all the different things and the different body parts you use when you play football. It's high intensity for 5 minutes, then it's low intensity when your team loses the ball if you're a defender. If you're an attacker, and if you're a defender, when your team is on the ball, then it's low intensity. And for Sheffield, I think they didn't have much of the ball today, and for them, it was just high-intensity defending, and they weren't ready for it. They really weren't ready for it. Because against Villa, it was a bit more even. Against Newcastle, it was obviously just a shit show for them. And then against a United team that's playing 1-2 pass, 1-2 pass, 1-2 pass, and you always have to constantly be turning around and you're chasing shadows as a defender, it gets tiring, especially when you haven't done it in 3 months. And so I think that was a huge, huge, huge problem for Sheffield United. Like, again, I'm not faulting Wan-Bissaka and Rashford. I was just kidding when I made those jokes. But you have to look at Sheffield and say, how are they not closing that down? There's 3 of you, and there's 1 guy, and he didn't even do anything fancy. He just poked the ball forward and ran into space, and then whacked it across the goal. It's poor. It's really poor. But again, you can't fault United for that because they can only play what's in front of them. Martial out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
The only thing they did wrong was steal Pogba's moment, but yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Oh my God, the last Premier League hat trick was with Sir Alex Ferguson and Robin van Persie.
Imagine.
And now Tony Marshall just went to go back 3. And I'm so happy for Tony Marshall. He deserves it. He completely deserves it. He works hard for it. The criticism he gets is unfair. This is to all the haters. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. 3-0. Hat trick. Tony Marshall scores again. Shut your mouths. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Flawless. Flawless, flawless, flawless. Hold up, we won't even talk about that. We know he's brilliant, but clinical. The third goal, oh my gosh. From the link-up play
just chipped it.
to
The
the
chip.
finish.
Oh.
Jeez, my life. 10 out of 10. No argument.
But remember, Shawnee, off air when I was saying this guy's too cool sometimes, I think that's what happened in the Pogba situation. He's just too relaxed sometimes, you know?
There's ice in his veins.
Nice.
Yeah, like when he was too relaxed for the Pogba chance, you know? I feel like another player on the field, perhaps Greenwood, would have at least, you know, gotten close to the target because they would have been alert. But Martial was just there like, oh, Pogba's here. Let me get the ball and try to shoot. Let me just casually try turn and smack it in the top right corner and not even try to put effort. Even my facial expression is as dead as the ice in my veins. But yeah, he's perfect, man. Mason Greenwood, out of 10. Something that a lot of people said was a good thing today, to see him on the team sheet as opposed to Dan James.
I mean, yeah, for what we have now, he completely deserves it. And, you know, his IQ again today, he showed better than Dan James. Things he has to do, better than Dan James. Pace, Mason Greenwood is not slow. So even if you want to just bring up Dan James' pace, Mason Greenwood is not slow. And he's strong.
Hey, but
and,
Dan James would have run circles around these tired man, eh? Like, I'm not saying he should have started, but I'm just saying. Dan James would have run circles around
He would have,
man.
but then he would have hit some otherwise cross. It just goes nowhere.
I don't even know, because, like, yeah, Dan James's intelligence is probably not for most Premier League games, really. But there was a chance when Martial and Rashford were on the break where I thought, imagine if Dan James was dashing down the right wing. Would Martial have passed to Rashford, or would he have just whipped it across the box to Dan James? Dan James might have still found a way to mess it up. We'll never know. It's a case of what if, maybe could have, should have, would have. But you know, I just think Sheffield were that crap that Dan James would have had a good game. But what do I know? What do I know?
But yeah,
Don't
other
trust
than
my
that, you know, I think this kid, he deserves it. You know, he deserves to start. I think he's working hard. I think he wants to start as well. And yeah, credit to Oli, credit to the team. I think the team's chemistry is actually better with Greenwood compared to Daniel James. But yeah, full credit to the kid. I love the kid. You know, to bets.
I just wish someone could do an interview.
I'm not going to overhype him because he didn't have the most amazing game. You know, he didn't hit his normal banger from outside the box. But yeah, for what he had to do, 7 out of 10.
I wish someone would interview Greenwood and just ask him what position he thinks he's good at. You know, like just bury the hatchet once and for all.
He's gonna sit striker. I think the link-up play is better because he's much more intelligent than Dan James. But other than that, I think he had a good game. I think, yes, he didn't score, he didn't assist, but he was threatening, and that's important. So I'm gonna give him a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Again, you know, you got to treat youngsters differently to older players. Like, if Greenwood was a much older player with a lot more experience, I would have questioned some of the decisions he made today, because I know being selfish is a quintessential part of being a good right winger. But at the same time, you've got to be selfish when the opportunity presents itself. And I don't think the opportunity presented itself in most cases for Greenwood. Like, I really think he made me scratch my head a few times when he scored. He did well to get himself in the position. I mean, when he took the shot, sorry. He did get himself into a good position in order to be on the ball, and that was positive. He did do a lot to make, like, I think he made the Sheffield defenders think a lot. And that is how Wan-Bissaka got the space he did.
If you're a Sheffield player, you can't leave Greenwood open. Or
You
can't leave any of those guys open. Otherwise, you will score.
Exactly. So he made the Sheffield defenders think about what they had to do. The 1-2 play between him, I don't know if it was him and Martial or him and Pogba, where he nearly scored a worldie if he had just put that in.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been a beautiful goal. But you see, that was a good chance to shoot. The other chances, I'm not so sure. But again, I'll let it slide. Not just because he's a young player, but because we were 2-0 up. You can't fault the guy for trying to score a goal and make the most of his chance.
It was a difficult chance, but because of Mason Greenwood, I actually
I think that's also the thing. Also, I think if there's anyone I would give credit to, license to shoot.
The 1-2 chance, yes. I think he should have taken a shot there. But the other chances, nah, mate. You know. The thing is, there were two Sheffield. The one chance I remember vividly, there were two Sheffield defenders right in front of him, so there was no space to shoot. Like, unless he thinks the ball's going to penetrate through the guy's tummy and get into goals. Like, I don't understand what the plan was there. And he didn't even do a low-driven shot, so it's not like he was trying to get it underneath their legs. So I don't know. But maybe that's just me. But again, I don't fault him for it because we were 2-0 up. Maybe he would have played differently if the game was evenly poised at 0-0. Like, I don't think Mason Greenwood would jeopardize the team's chances of winning just so he can put a goal. I don't think he's that kind of player. But, you know, could have, would have, should have. What if?
He looks a lot more focused.
He looks like Martial with that straight face of his. Like, he looks like he doesn't want to smile. You know, he's just here to do his job. You know how Martial some people say Martial's grumpy. That's the vibes I got from Mason Greenwood, and I like that. You know, straight face, determined. You know, he knows he's got this opportunity and he's trying to make the most of it. I like that. You know, there's nothing I hate more than a player who looks like they don't want to be at the club, and they're not interested in scoring or like in making the most of their opportunity. Like when you look at Lingard, what do you see? You just see no hope. Like it's like the SABC
I was
screen.
about to say hopelessness.
You know, when the aerial's not connected properly and it's just doot, or that other static sound like shh, and it's that black and white, those dots. That's what I see when I look into Jesse Lingard's eyes when he's on the field. Unless he scores a goal and he does that dumb celebration of his. But when I look at Greenwood, when I looked at Greenwood in that game, I got the vibes of someone who's serious and who wants to play, and he understands who's around him in the competition. And it's great to see, man. It's great to see. Plus, he's from our academy as well. So, you know, I hope things work out for him because, you know, imagine having a player like Mason Greenwood on your team and you didn't spend a single dime on him besides letting him use your facilities, you know. Brilliant. Not going to talk about the guys who came off from the bench because what can you say? I mean, Igolo nearly had his moment where
you always want him to get. You always
he's the
cherry on the top.
He does this. Like, we know this. Like, you give him 5 minutes, he does a young dribble, and you're like, I don't know, a guy this big could dribble that well, and then he nearly scores on the edge of the chicken box or the 8-yard box, whichever you prefer to call it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary to talk about the substitutes who came on today. I do want to talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and give him a rating out of 10 because I just want to preface by saying this: the draw against Spurs. We can sit here and debate until the cows come home whether or not that was a good result. Personally, in my opinion, I think a draw against Spurs is an acceptable result because I don't understand how in your right mind you expect Manchester United to win all of our 9 games. We drew the hardest one. We did not lose the hardest one. We drew the hardest one of the last 9, and we've won one of the easiest ones of the last 9. So to me, that's a massive positive. And the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made the changes that we all screamed out for says to me that this manager is not an idiot. He can see the problems in his team and he's willing to take risks at the necessary and appropriate times in order to secure the result. And I think that's a great thing. I honestly do. I really do. Some people will say, oh yeah, but it's obvious, you know, Matic was perfect and you should have been starting Pogba. It's not that obvious. When you're a manager and you have a playing style and a specific philosophy and you have players who are playing well in training, players like Fred who've been playing well all season and don't deserve to get dropped, it's not that obvious to just plug Pogba back in. And hey, you might think Pogba deserves, you know, to show why he should be in the team, like work for his spot. And Pogba did that against Spurs. Oli brought him on and he made the difference against Spurs. And Oli was like, okay, fair play, mate. You're starting next week. And I like that. So I don't usually give ratings, but I'm going to give Oli a 9 out of 10, to be honest. I think he deserves it.
I'm going to give Oli a 10 out of 10. Everything was perfect. From the team he selected, 100% the team I was selected. Substitute he made, 100% the subs I was made by Andreas, but I don't fault him for that. But yeah, 10 out of 10. That was perfect. It was
when else is Andreas going to play besides 3-0 up against a tired Sheffield? But I know what you mean.
Today, Oli got it spot on, right? And, you know, if he can just be consistent at it and things like that, oh yeah, it'll be great. But yeah, today, no faults. 10 out of 10 for Oli.
Yeah, I agree with Shane 100%. I think he was flawless. I think from the team, he picked all the right players from the way we played, and from the comical substitution he made at the end, so the players could get a rest. I think he did nothing wrong.
That was a classic Oli moment, though. Why did he wait till the 80th minute to rest him? That's classic Oli. But Oli, it's okay. You got the 3 points and you got the clean sheet. We won't talk about how you waited.
You did what we had to do.
We won't talk about how rewarding the 10 minutes Martial got off and how key that's going to be to him not getting injured next week, because 10 minutes was the difference between him not being injured and being injured. We won't talk about that. But no, Oli
I was wondering, like, come 65th minute, 2-0 up. I'm like, okay, remove Pogba now.
Yeah, well done, you took them off, but like 10 minutes, Nja, come on, dude. Like, what is a player? Are the muscles, like, is the lactic acid buildup going to slow down that much between the 80th minute and the 90th minute that you thought, okay, now's the appropriate time because 10 minutes is enough time to prevent an injury. But anyways, I digress. I want to ask you guys a big question. It's not that big, honestly, but I think it is in the context of our season. What do you want to see from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going forward? Because there's debates about the Europa League, the FA Cup. I know you guys don't really want to prioritize the FA Cup and you'd rather see us make top 4 and potentially win the Europa League. Squad depth-wise, what do you think is the key for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because we know what this team plays like without Bruno and Pogba. And I don't think I want to see Bruno and Pogba start every single game. So which ones do they miss out in? Do we just write off the Europa League for top 4?
I think that I want to see the team that played today play the Premier League games. And then I think with the FA Cup, because of the way things are, I think he can afford to play a lesser team. Maybe just start either one, Bruno or Pogba, start one of them, maybe alternate them also in the cup games. Europa League also, I think he can afford to play like Igalo, Greenwood, James. I think he can. And then, worst case comes, I think, if you do bring on a Martial or Pogba or someone, they can do the job still. So, yeah, but I definitely want to see this team that he played today play in the Premier League games, 100%.
That sounds ridiculous. Worst case, Pogba, Bruno, Martial can come on to save it. That sounds... Anyways, yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I think so. I think that's what he should do, and I would like him to do that.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. So much that I bet money on the FA Cup games. But anyway, I think the Europa League is important. Champions League, the league for the same reasons. I feel like you can risk players in the FA Cup. Honestly, I feel like you can drop all the first team players in the FA Cup and just play second team.
Bold statement, but considering the context of where we are, I don't want to see Pogba start in an FA Cup game and get injured. That's not.
Like,
that's
I
not
think McTominay, Fred, and whoever else he picks can do it. They can do it.
McTominay, Fred, and Lingard. Yeah.
No.
You disrespected me.
And Lingard.
Who else?
I would like to.
Who else? Who else? Because listen. If McTominay and Fred play, and you rest Matic, who else is going to play in the third?
I'd play one of our first team midfielders. I'll play one of. I'll still play one of.
You're not really. I get that, but then you're not really resting them. There's still a chance they could get injured. If Pogba starts in an FA Cup game over Lingard and Pereira and goes down, I'm throwing my remote at the screen, fam. Just saying. But I get it. I get it.
Lingard, Pereira, Ghana. Not even interested.
I
won't lie to you guys. The Europa League and the Premier League are way more important, in my opinion.
Yeah, but not Ghana. Not Ghana. I want to see McTominay, Fred, and either Lingard or Pereira, or maybe even Gomez play.
Yeah,
not a full midfield of Ghana, Pereira. No, that's stupid. That's retarded. Why wouldn't you play McTominay if he's not starting?
Liverpool vibes. McTominay and Fred off the bench.
We're not Liverpool. We don't celebrate our decades and decades and decades based on excellence in one trophy. We try, do our best in every trophy we play in. We ain't Liverpool. We don't throw all our
United could end up this season having more trophies than Liverpool. I'm just saying.
Exactly. We could have 2 trophies and top 4. Why would you? Like, that's so narrow-minded, because as crazy as this sounds, we could still lose a game with Bruno and Pogba on the field. You haven't thought about that. I bet you Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will have egg on his face if he didn't play McTominay and Fred in the FA Cup, lost the FA Cup, and then still choked top 4, even with his best team. That could still happen. Pogba could go down in the league. So you can't just completely write off one tournament. But I get the sense that you're just trolling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was about to say that.
I picked it up. See, I know my best friends. But anyways, guys, thank you. And before I say goodnight, massive appreciation to all the people that watch our shows. We don't say this enough on the channel, but thank you. It really means a lot that you listen to our show and you take all of my nonsense. Because if you haven't noticed, I really do play the dickhead on the show. I do it really well. I consider myself like a Roy Keane on the show, and these 2 gentlemen put a lot of work in behind the scenes to make this a reality. A lot of people don't recognize how hard it is to consistently make content on the fly based on schedules of real life, sporting events. It's not that easy. So we do appreciate each and every one of you who's subscribed, listens to the shows, likes the shows, whether you listen to all of them or some of them, whether you're new, whether you're old. Thank you. Big ups, man. Big ups. Good night and enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out.